Hey, y'all. Happy Sunday. Here we are. No filters, because I've been read about my filters and my big hands. Let me tell you, my daddy had the biggest hands of any man I ever saw. It was like Incredible Hulk hands. So I was worried while I was growing up. They never got as big as my daddy's. But it worried me. You know it did. So I've been listening to some of my friends. I've got a friend that tells spooky stories, and I've been listening to her tell her life story. And I really think a lot of her. She's a great gal. She's a trans woman. And I'm glad that she gets inspired and tells her wonderful stories. And I'm just so happy that she's getting her life together. Yeah. And it's hard. You know, we both can kind of relate that we kind of started our journeys in female impersonation. Because in a lot of places, that's the only place that you have to experiment or do anything. So I'm glad that she found that. And, you know, eventually you move up past all that. But, yeah, whenever I first moved out, I remember I had been out a couple of weeks. I was living in an apartment with a bunch of drag queens. And then one day, we got a knock on the door. And it was men in white outfits, you know, white lab coats and pants. They were asking for me in my actual legal name at the time. And they said that I had to accompany them to the health department because someone had turned my name in as a carrier of VD. I was not sexually active. I knew somebody had just put my name in. I knew I hadn't been with anybody, so I knew. And I tried to tell them. And they said, well, either you will go with us or we're going to call the police and they will handcuff you and take you because one way or another, you're going today. So I had to go. And it was so humiliating. Because, you know, like I've told you, all I had to do was to look like a woman was just put on women's clothes. That's all I had to do, arch my eyebrows. So here I was looking like a woman, going in there and them calling me he and a male name and making me lower my jeans so they could inspect. I was so humiliated. And I kept telling them. I was crying by then, you know. I was 18. I had never experienced anything like that. This was really adult shit. And, of course, they did not see anything that showed that I had VD. So they had to do a blood test. But they had to go ahead and give me a shot, you know, a penicillin shot, just in case. They weren't going to let me go if somebody thought maybe I was a carrier or somebody was spreading it. So I got it. And I said, you know, I do want to know whenever these tests come back because I know that it's going to be negative. And I want an apology for the humiliation. Oh, we'll give you a call. We'll give you a call. Well, I didn't hear from them people. In about a month, I called them. Oh, that was a negative. That was a negative. Like it was no big deal. Like it had not disrupted my life because I was nobody. In their minds, I was nobody because I was trans. And I did not find out for 40 years who had done that. So finally, it's been 50 years since that took place, but I didn't find out until about 10 years ago who actually was the one who called on me. And it was a drag queen that was jealous of me, of how I looked and how men reacted to me. And she was jealous of it. I guess she thought that it would upset me and I would run myself back to the farm. I didn't run myself nowhere. I started my life and I went forward with it. And they, in turn, became absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I've known a lot of people like that became absolutely nothing after fucking with me. So, it's really a hard time, United States and the UK, with trans people. It's a really hard situation for us to have to deal with. Especially for the transsexuals. Because the transsexuals couldn't live their lives any other way. It's not like it was just something we felt like we wanted to do, that we thought we would enjoy. It was something that drew us to it from the time we were children. It was the only way that we could actually be happy, the only way we could succeed in life. It was the only thing to us that we could do without ending our lives. And now we're all having to have our lives up in the air. It's like in my case. 50 years. 50 years. A legal and physical woman. 50 years. I've went from a teenager to an old woman, almost 70 years old, as a female. So now I'm supposed to think it's okay to all of a sudden be referred to as a man. It's disrupted my life, and I can honestly say I don't know what's going to happen, because there's days that I don't want to go on. There's days that I would just as soon go on over and be with my mama, because it's too much for me to bear. And nobody, I have absolutely nobody here to confide in. They don't think I should worry about anything like that. That I have no reason to worry about anything like that. They're saying that we're all the same, no matter how we were diagnosed, what kind of surgeries we had. If we were technically, biologically male, then we are men. So that affects me really bad. I know it affects everybody else, but I'm not in everybody else's head. I'm not in everybody else's life. I'm here with me. And I'm in a small, rural Mississippi town, living alone. And we don't know what could happen. Because I actually, when it comes down to it, have no support. Because they don't acknowledge it. It's not discussed. And I don't always get along with people. I am high-strung. I don't like people to tell me what to do. I don't like people to disrespect me. Because, you know, when it comes to that, I don't care. I don't care if I'm fixing to get my brains blowed out. If you disrespect me, I'm having a fit. And I'm cussing you out. And if you fuck with me, I may pick up a brick and knock your head in. That's just the way I am. Like I said, I'm high-strung. I'm bipolar with Asperger's syndrome. And I try to live a straight up and up life. I do the best I can. But when somebody rides me about what I'm not able to do, and they're not trying to help me, all fucking bets are off. So I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but I see some changes coming in the future. I have to have some changes. Otherwise, they're going to find me out back here hanging from this oak tree. Because I have discovered that that's the best way to go. The quickest way to go. The cleanest way to go. So when it comes down to it, I will be in control of how I live and how I die. So, my friend Miss Kelly, we're talking about doing some lives so we can discuss exactly how hard this situation is on us transsexual elders who have nothing to fall back on because we didn't live our lives for 50 years as men, heterosexual men. We lived our lives as women. We gave up that maleness as teenagers. We can't go back to anything because we don't have anything to go back to. But these people do. These people who messed all this up, they had choices. But see, they were jealous of us because we were able to go in and be respected, basically. We were able to go in and live our lives. And, I mean, we could marry men back when it was illegal for gays to marry. We could legally marry men. And we did. In my case, married men that I shouldn't have married, but but I had that right to do that. But we don't have anything to go back to. So for us, it will be over. We will be collateral damage. The ones that it was all meant for will be the ones that will lose. And the ones that caused this trouble will just go back into the shadows where they were for 50 and 60 years. There's nothing wrong with them doing their dressing and stuff at home or in their private clubs, whatever they do, but they don't need to be causing the trouble they're causing. They don't have no rights to do that, in my opinion, because they've never actually lived lives as women. They haven't done like we did, go into the workforce, into communities, into careers as women, and were accepted as women. They're living lives as transgender people and daring you to question it. So, we got a storm brewing here. I better get off here. You know I live in the back of this church and it could take the roof off. That's the way it is. Y'all have a good day. Love y'all. Some of you at least, and you know you are. And the rest of you can bite me.